This comic book story begins in Toronto, in the studio of writer and artist Jeff Lemire. He spends hours here drawing and penning the adventures of Superman, Green Arrow, and Batman, but it was Essex County, the award-winning graphic novel about a simpler time, not superheroes, that launched his career.
So these are original pages from Essex County, which now are, these were in 2007, I guess I drew all this stuff, so obviously all set where I grew up and on a small farm. And that's kind of something I've continued to explore in all my work, is sort of these rural settings.
The book is what brought him to the attention of DC Comics. And when DC gave Lemire the assignment of writing the iconic Justice League of America comic series, the patriotic storyteller wanted to put his stamp on things.
I'm kind of known for being an overly proud Canadian in the offices at DC.
Oh, yeah?
I labeled the email in my pitch Justice League of Canada just as a joke.
Lemire's editor loved the idea, so he said yes on one condition.
Okay, I'll do it, but I'm really going to do it as a Canadian book, like really try to, not just put it, the CN Tower in the background and call it Justice League Canada.
Although Lemire's 5-issue run starts in Toronto, the action soon moves to the north and the tip of Hudson's Bay. That's where you'll find the mainly Cree communities of Moosonee and Moose Factory. There are no roads that reach where Lemire is going, so he squeezes onto one of the 8-seater planes that service this region. Lemire fell in love with the area when he first visited on a research expedition. But this time he's brought his superheroes with him, presenting a new story that finds the Justice League characters investigating strange happenings in the bush. And that's where Lemire's visit begins, tagging along on a high school trip to a trap line. It's a long, cold, bumpy ride to the hunter's campsite where Paul Williams shows students how to check beaver traps.
So how much beavers in this home?
How many?
Yeah.
Usually about 5 or 6.
Standing in knee-high snow, learning about the fine art of finding beavers,
Right, see the stick here?
Lemire's come a long way from Essex County, but he feels a connection to this community.
To me, there's something just very attractive about the culture and the way they connect with the land and the respect they have for the land, and things like their great sense of humor and their warmth.
Try pulling them at the same time, see how good they do it.
Yeah, I eat them. Dance knows. We're done.
But behind the smiles, Lemire's also heard about the hardships and how some go out on the land to escape from troubles at home.
Because back home there's a lot of people with alcoholic families and stuff, getting into drugs, and there's a lot of abuse too from parents back home. You don't have to worry about that in the bush.
A few years ago, a string of suicides ripped through this community. Taylor Roach lost 2 friends.
I don't really know what it is, but it's just something about Moose Factory that just weighs everyone down too, in a way. It's like so isolated, and like when you want to leave Moose Factory, you want to come home right away. It's because you miss it, but you hate it at the same time.
That sense of isolation that Taylor struggles with is part of what pulled Lemire north. He wanted to take the superheroes out of the fictional big cities of Gotham and Metropolis, instead giving them a taste of the real Canadian North, a world of snow-covered roads and wind-swept buildings. And when he discovered a Cold War relic, Lemire's heroes had found a home.
Originally, the intent was that this abandoned NORAD base in Moosonee would be a great spot for the new Justice League's headquarters. An abandoned Cold War army base is the stuff of comic book dreams for me.
And so in the first issue, the team discovers aliens hiding beneath the base and decide to stick around. And besides relocating the Justice League to its new Northern Ontario headquarters, Lemire wanted to create a new hero, a new Canadian Cree hero from a community just like this.
I wanted to try to create a character that sort of seemed like she could be from the area and she could be one of you guys, you know. So that's what I used as sort of the base for this character. All right, this is her. So this is the character we created. Her name is Equinox, and she's 16, and she goes to a high school in Moose Factory.
Equinox discovers she's from a long line of Cree heroes whose powers come from the earth and change with the seasons. But there was one more element to tie her to the community.
Her alter ego is, you guys know what her name? Her real name is Miabin Martin, and she's...
Did you start reading comics at a young age?
Meet Miapin Chichu.
So, how does it feel to see this new hero who you share the same name with?
Well, it feels really cool because, I mean, like, we don't really have that, like, it's kind of nice to have, like, a positive role model for Mussolini and stuff. Just, you know, like a native hero, like, I've never seen that before.
Does anyone here like to draw? Cool. What do you guys think makes a hero instead of a bad guy? What kind of things, their personality, make them a good guy instead of a bad guy?
One thing you quickly learn about the Cree
They help
culture
out.
is
Yeah,
their
that's
love
great.
of sharing stories. And for Lemire, this is just the beginning.
Obviously, as a white guy from Toronto, telling a story about a Cree character is one thing, but if I do it well and, you know, maybe I inspire one of these kids one day to grow up and tell their own stories.
And that could be Equinox's real superpower. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Moosonee, Ontario.